Welcome back to another GMBN Tech weekly show. Coming up on the show this week, we've got news on that brand new Yeti SB100 XC trail bike, loads of suspension tech, and of course all the regular stuff from you guys, including bikecave, rewind, and top mods. So straight into tech news. Now this week there's a whole load of cool stuff going on in the mountain bike tech world, and here is some of the best bits. So first up, Yeti have got a brand new bike. It's called the SB100, 100 standing for 100 millimeters of travel. It's their new cross-country platform. Now, unlike most other cross-country bikes, this is a little bit more trail focused, so it's running a 120mm fork up front. And being a 29-inch wheel bike, you might expect to see a 51mm offset fork on there, but I've actually reduced that to a 44mm offset fork, which really emphasises the point it's all about handling for this bike. This could be like the trail weapon that a lot of riders have been looking for. Have a look on screen now and you can see it's available in two variations. There's the T and the C. The T is the slightly cheaper carbon and the frame set weighs 2.5 kilos. The C is the higher end carbon and that's 2.75 kilos as a frame. Head angle on the bike is 67.8. Now it's quite a roomy bike as well, so the reach on the medium, large and extra large sizes is 432, 450 and 472. So it's quite a roomy bike for an XC sort of bike, and it's got a slimmed down version of that Switch Infinity system on there, and to fit it into the bike they've rotated it 90 degrees. Now it actually sits at just behind the bottom bracket shell and behind the seat tube down at the bottom there, and it's got its own dedicated cover there. Now due to this positioning, what they've also been able to do is change the layout of the frame slightly. So it's got a consistent seat tube in there, so you can basically fit a full length dropper post in there with like up to 170mm of drop. And also one other nice little touch, it can take a water bottle, which is pretty much a first for Yeti with that Switch Infinity system. Now the T-Series frame, like the better quality frame, they retail for $3,400 US, and complete bikes are available from $5,400 US. Of course, you are paying for a premium product here. This is Yeti after all, and they always win a super nice in bike vaults because they're Yeti. And something that I particularly like is there's a really rowdy pink version, the Beti. So it's the Beti SB100, so it's the woman specific model. The spec is very slightly different. The suspension has a slightly softer tune on it, a bit more supple for lighter riders. It comes with women specific saddles on there, and the pink colour is just amazing. In fact, I actually think that the pink colour, in particular in this bike, it looks better than the traditional Yeti blue, and I'm a huge fan of that Yeti blue. What do you guys think? What would you have? Would you have the Beti in a pink, or would you have the traditional in the blue? Let us know in those comments. So next up is suspension tech, and this is from Rockshox. So there's 3 brand new models of the SID XC fork. Now first up, we'll start at the top with the World Cup forks. Now we've already seen this fork on the front of Nino Schurter's bike. Now it's got the debonair spring on there, so for much increased sensitivity, so much more active fork. It's also got the Charger 2 damper unit on there, and if you have a look on screen now, you'll see a couple other cool things about it. So on the inside, it's got a factory tuned dig valve, so that's a mid-stroke support, a specific feature of the SID fork now. Now they've knocked out a load of weight from those magnesium dropouts, so really slender down the bottom there, and it's got a carbon steerer tube on there. Like, this is the 100mm travel XC Racers World Cup fork. Absolute premium product. Retail is $999 to $1,079 depending on the slight variation that you pick. Now also on screen now you'll see the RLC and the RL, so the other 2 versions, which they also have in a 29-inch 120mm travel version, which you're going to start seeing a bit more of, I think, in XC. You've seen it now with Santa Cruz with their Blur recently. You've seen it today with that new Yeti running 120 up front. I think you might see things changing a little bit in the world of XC with 120mm being offered. So both those forks have that new debonair spring. The RLC has the Charger 2 and the dig valve on there, whereas the RL has a solid lockout compression adjustment. Now, next thing I want to talk about is the Rockshox twist lock, which I've just mentioned. So we first saw early samples of these on Anton Cooper's bike and also on Emily Batty's bike when we were at the Stellenbosch World Cup. It looks super neat, much neater than running a regular sort of left-hand grip shift to activate your dropper post or your shock. Now, it's important to say you can use this with dropper post, but only cable operated post, not hydraulic ones like the Rockshox Reverb. And of course you can use it to activate the lockout on shocks. Now retail price for that is about $109. It's available now, and it's the super neat way of like decluttering your handlebars, and the action on it's amazing. So check those out, that's really cool. So finally from Rockshox, there's a brand new app called Trailhead. Now this app is compatible with all of those new forks moving forwards. I'm not sure if they're going to backdate it yet or not. I'm waiting to find out on that. But essentially it's a setup aid. So you put into the app your body weight, the fork you've got and all that sort of stuff. And it gives you recommendations on air pressure to run, how many clicks of rebound, how many clicks of compression, and even advice on what sort of level of volume spacer adjustment you might want on there. Really nice little app just to help you get those things dialed in. Hopefully though, Rockshox will backdate some of that, because I think that'd be really useful for everyone that has a pair of Rockshox forks. Now in the world of downhill, we're seeing a lot more 29-inch wheel bikes. There's a bit of revolution last year, a lot of brands committed to it. Some riders like GMBN found their way with those 29-inch wheels, same with Greg Menard. Others sort of sat on the fence a little bit. We're definitely going to see a lot more of it for 2018 race season. And on Eddie Masters' Instagram stories, it looks like he's on that brand new pivot, which has got a slightly different design to the 27.5-inch wheel one. Looking at the seat tube on this picture on the screen now, you can see like a little notch there, and there's a mini link in there that drives the shock, and the seat stays connect to that mini link. On the 27.5-inch wheel model, it doesn't have that linkage there. The seat stays connect directly to a Clevis style driver that attaches to the shock, and it goes around the seat tube and drives the shock straight through. So that's a really cool feature, and it's certainly going to make the bike a bit stiffer on the back end there. So I'm really interested to see how many other riders do step up with 29s, because it's certainly not the case that it is faster for everyone. Definitely people like Greg Menard have found their feet on a bike that is the correct size for him. He's riding a really long bike now with 29-inch wheels, and he was famous for saying last year that actually it's not a case of the 29-inch wheels being better or anything, he's just found a bike that fits him correctly. We're also seeing some smaller and shorter riders using them, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how balanced out the sort of the top 20 is going to be for the 2018 season, and we want to pick this up in some tech shows once the UCI World Cup starts. Next up is some news from Marzocchi. This certainly makes me smile because I'm a huge fan of the earlier Marzocchi forks. And finally, it's back. So Marzocchi now, they're working alongside Fox, it's like a part of the brand, and it's making the most of the amazing production facilities that Fox has, and of course, a lot of the really other good features. So check it out. So the one on screen is the red model. So that one is 170mm travel in a 29-inch, and it's 180mm travel in a 27.5-inch. The regular model, which is in black, is up to 130 to 170mm travel in 10mm increments, and the 29. In the 27.5 is 150 to 180mm. Now it's got 36mm stanchions, which is no surprise because they're using some Fox technology there to help make the fork perform really well. And on the inside it's got the Fit damper, and of course it's got the Evol air spring, which is so popular on the Fox range already. So we know that that extra volume air spring is going to make that fork feel really supple and hopefully a bit like the original Z1s used to feel. It's boost 15 by 110 only, and at the moment retail price is set to be around $700, so a bit of a bargain as well by all accounts. So the Fox 34 is back for 2019, and it's got two different models now. So there's the 140mm travel version, and then there's a 100 to 120mm version with Stepcast. Now Stepcast is a technology that they brought into the XC world with the 32 previously, so this is the first time we've seen this move up to a bigger travel fork and a burlier fork. And by doing this, they lose ½ pound in weight over the regular 34 design. That's a significant amount. Now it's got the Fit 4 damper in there, it's got the Evol spring, and it's available in two different chassis sizes. It's 27.5, which fits up to a 2.8-inch size tyre, and then 29, which fits up to a 2.6. Now I think you're going to see a lot of those this year, especially in that 120mm travel with a lot of those 100mm frames that are coming in. I mean, that certainly appeals to me. A frame that you can build up that's light enough for what you need it to do, but strong enough and fun enough to hit any trail. I don't think you need 150mm travel. I've always said like a shorter travel bike is a lot better than people give them credit for. So maybe that could be the way things are going to go this year. Now also the Fox 36 is back. It's got a brand new damper inside, so the whole fork has some revisions on there, and you'll be pleased to know that it does come in that factory orange racing colour, which everyone really wants now. So it looks amazing. So on the inside now it's got the Grip 2 damper, so that's a 4-way damping system that replaces the old RC2. So you've got high and low speed compression and high and low speed rebound, 4 separate adjustments for adjusting the fork. So that Grip 2 damper has a lot more adjustment, and there's a lot more difference in the adjustment between clicks than there was in the previous RC2, and it's got new improved seals on it, so there's a lot less resistance to stiction on there. Now it's got VVC, which is variable valve control, as part of that damping unit. Now instead of just adding preload as a damper, it's actually, it controls the valves themselves. So it's more like what you would do in aftermarket tuning with shim stacks. Apparently this thing feels amazing. It's definitely going to be one of the best forks out there. So of course Rockshox have recently just launched their Lyric. Again, we've got amazing reports of that. So I can feel a bit of a fork off coming up. What do you guys reckon? So finally, another 29-inch wheel related product, the Cane Creek Helm fork, now available in 29. So they obviously do that in 27.5 already in both air and coil, and now the same in 29. So it's available 130 to 160mm travel. It's adjustable internally in 10mm increments. You don't need to change the air tube on that. It's just a spacer system on there. Now, unlike a lot of the other forks that you use spacers to change the air volume, it's got a system inside that you can do this without any extra parts. It doesn't involve removing a top cap. It's a very simple process to do, and it's really good as well. Something else that's really good on this bike is the amount of control that's built into it. It's just got separate high and low speed adjustable compression, and it's got low speed adjustable rebound on there, but it's also got separately adjustable positive and negative chambers, so you can really tune the way you want that fork to feel. And the breakaway force on that fork is one of the most sensitive things I've ever felt on any fork. So I've not felt the new Lyric fork yet, or the brand new Fox 36, but that Helm is incredible. So keep your eye out for that Cane Creek Helm fork out there. It's a really good fork and very subtle. So anyone that knows what they're doing is surely going to be looking at running that fork. So now it's time for Bike Cave. I love this section of the show. This is where I get to see where you guys keep and work on your bikes. That could be the garage at home, could be the back of a really cool converted out van, could be the back of a painter and decorator's van. Doesn't matter, wherever it is you work on your bikes, I want to see it. We love this stuff. So send them in, use the hashtag BikeCave, send them into the email address on the screen. You can also tag us on our Instagram page and of course on Facebook as well. So first up is Paul Worrell in Birmingham. Hi Doddy, this is my kinder shed, stroke bike cave, stroke workshop. Right, let's have a look at what you've got. Okay, this is pretty organised for, oh man, that's got a lot of headroom in there. That would suit me. Compressor down the bottom there. You've got some fork oils, so you like a bit of home servicing into that. Loads of, looks like power tool cases on the side. Some jerry cans up the top there, very nice. Looking pretty flipping organised, to be honest. That's my sort of workshop. Like it. Now you've got your specialised bikes down the back, so one's an e-bike and one's not. Jonesy would like that, no doubt. A lot of specialised stickers. I can sense you're a bit of a specialised fan. Oh, Cannondale Rush though. I haven't seen one of them for a few years. Did they not used to come with a lefty on? I'm sure they used to come with a lefty, or at least there was a model with a lefty. So that's their, correct me if I'm wrong, that was their XC frame, isn't it? 80 or 100mm travel, something like that. Single pivot, really simple. Nice frame that, really nice. Bit of a throwback, I guess, for that one. Nice one. Thank you for sending that one in, Paul. Always good to see that stuff. Next up is from Blake's place where he lives, so from the Isle of Wight. So this is Chris Wilson. Sending you an email this time. I tried to get you via Facebook the other week. Been playing around with hanging the bikes, but can't quite fit them all in. And the Lapierre's not got a space in the new layout. Sent a picture of how I used to have them compared to now with my vertical hanging. Don't want the kit in the shed, so to the missus' horror, I keep it all above the wardrobe. Yeah, well, don't we all do that sort of thing? Tool chest, not at 90 degrees, but everything I need and my toolbox has most things to fix at home or when I go out on trips. I've got a Mondraker Crafty Plus, absolutely love that bike, really nice, a big 2.8 tyres on there. Lapierre Zesty 914 carbon, specialised demo, Orange Missile, oh that's a throwback, nice. Saracen Tough Tracks and Specialised Tourer for the wife. From the outside, it's a 10 by 8 foot family working shed, hand built from scaffolding boards, so it's as solid as. Mate, I really like that shed. That's cool. Yeah, and indeed, you've got all your stuff in there: brake cleaner, spray lubes, couple of spare chains. That's always good to have. Impressed by that. Pair of Saint pedals, very nice. Oh man, that Orange Missile. Can you take some separate pictures of that missile and send that in for rewind, please? Love to see that in some details because a lot of good memories about those bikes. Man, that's nice. And yeah, at the top of the wardrobe, that definitely looks familiar. Everything just chucked up there. Hopefully it's not festering. Hopefully you keep it clean enough so that the other half's happy with that. Shed looks really good though. I'm well impressed with that. Yeah, it's really cool. Nice. Sweet. Thank you for sending that one in, Chris. Good work. Next up is from Francisco. Hi guys, congratulations on the great show. It's amazing what you guys are doing for the mountain bike community. I've learnt so much, and now I'm the bike mechanic for my family and friends. Got a fleet of 8 bikes to look after thanks to the knowledge you guys provide. Hey, that's exactly what we want to hear. Thank you. Like, that really means a lot, because we're not trying to sort of tell everyone to do everything themselves, but if you want to work on your bikes at home, we love showing you how to do that. So that's great. So your bike cave, don't really have a nice setup in a room. It's more like a mobile shop I can put away. I live in Canada, province of Alberta, where, as you know, we have very cold winters. So in the winter, I work on the bikes in the basement. We keep the bikes in the garage, and in the summer, that's where I work on them too. Don't have any fancy bikes, but they're good enough to go enjoy the local trails in the city next to the river, and sometimes we go out into the mountains. Awesome. No, that's a nice setup, and I'd be happy working there. You've got a lot of tools. Tell you that, for someone who's not got that much in the way of bikes, you've got loads of tools going on. Hey, you've got plenty of good bikes, that's fine. You've got Gary Fisher, you've got Ghost. More than enough there for some decent mountain bike action. Wicked. Thank you for sending those in, Francisco, and really, really cool to hear that you're helping your friends out with knowledge that you've got and you're passing it on. So that's what it's all about, community. And as always, guys, thank you so much for sending in your bike caves. We love seeing them. Hey, I would like to see some of you guys introducing your bike caves. Maybe like you can video yourselves doing it on your camera phones. Let's see if we can change things up a little bit and start sort of making it a bit more fun for everyone. I'll do one in my bike cave when it's ready, which it's not far off, so hopefully I'll see you soon. Okay guys, now it's time for Rewind. This is our retro part of the show. This varies from show to show. Sometimes we check out the really cool stuff and bikes that you guys send in. Other times I pick some random retro stuff in the past and tell you a bit of a story about how that's kind of developed into the stuff that we see today. So whatever it is, if there's stuff you want to know that's related to retro mountain bike stuff, let us know in the comments below. Use that hashtag Rewind so I can find those nicely, and keep sending your bike entries in and components, any old race photos, perhaps of you guys back in the day, any of that stuff. We love it. So first up is from John Southey. This is his 1996 Konus X2. That is definitely an old school bike. So this one, right, so this is a bit of a different bike. So this is a unified suspension design on this, and I'll tell you what, your paint job's in pretty good condition considering how old the bike is. Wow, so that's good to see. So you've got, well, a Quadra 21 forks on the front there, Fox Alps 4 shock. Shimano DX pedals are a little bit newer on there, but most of the stuff looks pretty period on there. Magura brakes, so they're not the HS33 race lines, which would look amazing on there, by the way, because they're the same colour as the frame, but they work equally as well. But that frame design, man, so I don't know what bike designers were thinking with unified designs. So unified design, when they first came out, it's basically pivot halfway up the bike, so it basically pivots in half. And the idea of that is your drivetrain is on a rigid part of the bike, and the suspension works when you sat down. When you stand up, it firms up, basically, so it's really efficient for pedaling. In the early days, this was great because a lot of suspension designs were quite sloppy, and you pedal and you'd get that biopacing effect, and just not very good. But this one, they've lowered that unified pivot point right down to just behind the bottom bracket, so it does work when you're stood up and when you're seated. It does feel firmer when you're stood up than seated, which kind of, by today's standards, does sort of defeat the purpose of rear suspension a bit. But the Sex bikes really did work quite well. And I think, what does that stand for? Suspension experience, I think it was. Kona are famous for having weird sort of acronyms and stuff like that with their bikes. And of course, a lot of them are quite dirty. But we'll go into that in a future episode of Rewind when I can find a diplomatic way of telling all those stories. But anyway, in the meantime, let's have a look at this. So yeah, Rockshox Quadra 21R fork on the front there. So that's an elastomer sprung fork. It's good to see the Tioga Psycho tyres on there though. Well, certainly out back there's the Psycho. Everyone used to want them, especially when John Tomac used to run those ones that were kind of the biscuit colour or the colour of dog poo. I don't know why everyone wanted them, but they were really cool and really soft compound. They used to wear out fast, but somehow they're quite cool. I don't know what the score was. Back in the day, everyone used to run odd colour tyres. Specialized had their Ummagumma grey ones. There were Panaracers, had their Smoke and Dark Magics. There was the white Porcupines originally. And I think Specialized also had another version of tyre, I don't know if it was Ummagumma or not, which is bright red. Who wants red tyres? Crazy. Anyway, nice to see that. Let's have a look at what Leslie's got to say. Doddy, love the show. If you're really interested in retro tech, you should visit the Mountain Bike Museum in Arnhem in the Netherlands. So Jerome, the owner, has more than 700 bikes and parts. Here's the link. I've got to have a look at this. Okay, all right, so I am going. I'm going to find a way of going there. So there's also the Marin Mountain Bike Museum and the Hall of Fame. I'm sure there's a few other places. In fact, if anyone knows of any other sort of mountain bike museums or halls of fame around the world, let's get a list of them going, because I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people out there that don't know about these and do want to go and visit them and pay the respects to sort of the old racers that started the sport and see where the technology has gone. In fact, we're definitely going to have to go and do some videos at some of these places to check out some of that history. Absolutely love this. Thank you, Leslie, for that tip off. I will definitely be heading over there at some point to check that out. Amazing, wicked. Thank you for sending those in, guys. Always love seeing rewind and retro stuff. As I said, if you've got anything, a helmet, an old multi-tool, whatever it is that's old and retro, send it in. We want to see it. And of course, if there's anything we want to know about, any sort of old retro bike stories, anything like that, let us know in those comments below. See you next week. Welcome to Top Mods. This is the section of our weekly show where you guys send in all the shots of the cool stuff you've been fitting to your bikes. All those little upgrades, whether it's changing some winter tyres to summer tyres, even just upgrading your brake pads. No matter how small, whatever it is, send it in. We love seeing that stuff. So don't forget to use the hashtag TopMods, and send it into the email address at the bottom of the screen right now. First up this week is from Armin, who's been into GMBN since the very first video. But however, GMBN Tech has taken the #1 spot for him, as I would say. Well into that. Nice one, Armin. Thank you for that. So he's refreshed his 2016 Pivot Max 6 for the upcoming season. I say this lightly when he says refreshed. He's basically changed everything on it. Like, serious amount of mods going on here. So look at this thing on the screen now, right? So we've got new wheels and tyres. NV6040s on there. i9 hubs. Industry 9 that is. Maxxis DHF and Aggressor tyres. Good combination that, actually. Like those. New 4-piston XT calipers. Had to order those from Germany. Not available in the US yet. Yeah, not available in the UK yet either. Man, you got those quick. XTR rotors. New brake lines and shifter cable by Jaguar. I appreciate the fact you've gone to colour coordination with that. That is great. New KCNC pull yes and KMC chain. New grips, more odds and ends on there, but that's all the main stuff. Man, this is the most colour coordinated bike I've ever seen. Orange chainring, orange crank caps on there to match the orange pivot graphics on there. Blue ODI grips, blue graphics on the frame, blue hubs, blue graphics on the forks with orange graphics on there. Man, you have gone to town. And the chain looks unreal on there as well. And the KCNC jockey wheels, Industry 9 hubs. They sound amazing, those things. And those 4-pot XT brakes, man. Actually very jealous of that. That is a nice bike, Armin. Thanks for sending that one in. Next up is from Chris von Schomburg. Hi Doddy, I've attached a photo of my bike cave. When my mother-in-law was in town, I put the bike near the front door because I can't fix anything to the wall, so I had to knock up a stand out of some timber. So this is my first top mod. We just come out of summer here and the temperature near me was 46.3 degrees Celsius, which is just way too hot to ride. That's like really hot. So thanks to a night riding series, I was able to rig up a light and ride in the cooler temperatures at night because I couldn't afford a good torch. I used this cheap one, which was supposedly 34,000 lumens. Yeah, we both know that was never going to happen, do we? Probably more like 1,500. I made a bracket out of a cable saddle and a piece of 50mm plumbing polypipe. Nice, liking this. It was okay, but it rattled around a lot. Ended up using 32 and 50mm swivel clamp. I tell you what, that's a really good hack. I'm well into that. I like the fact that you've got the bike upright as well. That makes it like take up far less room. It looks pretty sturdy as well, easy to make at home. In fact, can you send a few more pictures of that in a bit more detail? I'll have to give that to Martin for Hacks and Bodges on the GMBN Dirt Shed show. That's a really, really good one. Well into that. And the light as well, a few more details about the actual light. There's quite a few viewers that like to find out a bit more about that. Nice work. Well into that. Thank you, Chris. Next up is from Orange02 Camaro. I recognise your name. You guys have got that insane bike cave we looked at last week's show, I think. Doddy, was tired of leaning my bike on stuff and having it fall over all the time, so I welded up this little stand for my Yeti SB 5.5 with some steel. Cost half the price of some of the store-bought ones and twice as sturdy. That's the way. I also upgraded a bunch of other stuff on my base model Yeti, XTR 1x11 oval 32 tooth chainring, a push 11.6 rear shock. Oh man, that's a serious upgrade. You got a bit of cash, haven't you? XT brakes, carbon Nexty wheels on there, very nice. Industry 9 hubs and a few other bits just casually thrown in there. Tell you what, I'm loving that bike stand. That is really nice. Obviously just fits into the axle there of the cranks. Even customised it with Yeti graphics. Nice. It's not quite Yeti blue though, is it? Made a good effort, but I think you might have to go back with another can of paint to match that up a bit better. You can definitely do that with all your tools. I'd love to see a few more shots of that shock as well. If you've got some custom Yeti graphics on it, looks like you can see the Yeti doing a broad slide. Yeah, let's have a look. Send some more detail shots of that in. Love to see those. Thank you very much, Orange02 Camaro. There you go. So that was top mods for this week. Please continue to send yours in. If you can't send them into an email address, hit us up on Facebook or tag us on Instagram. Okay, so tech of the week this week. There's obviously so much in news in the way of suspension going on. I've been looking around on Instagram and stuff for some other cool stuff going on. I actually found something on Cycle Industry News and had to go onto Instagram to get some more pictures. This is a hammer and it's called The Hammer. It's by Porter Cycles and look how bad boy this thing is. Right, it's just made from Reynolds 631 tubing and the main tube is the same size as handlebar grips, so you can put your choice of lock-on handlebar grips straight onto there. It's made by Alex at Porter Cycles near Stuttgart. It's got a head that's filled with sand so it doesn't recoil like a normal hammer, and it's got interchangeable heads, so you can have rubber heads, plastic heads, depending on what you want to do with it. It's going to retail for around €89 and production starts in March. I'll tell you what, Alex, sign me up. I'm having one of those bad boys. That is one of the coolest tools I've ever seen. If any of you guys seen any other unusual mountain bike related tools out there, I'd love to know about them. Email me on the address on the screen below or let us know in the comments. Always a big tool fan. There we go, there's another weekly tech show in the bag. Please don't forget to subscribe by clicking on the globe and telling all your friends about us. For a couple more really helpful videos, click up here for Tubeless 101. That's everything you need to know about setting your bike up tubeless, whether you're doing it on a UST rim or a conversion kit. It's got all the information in there you need. And then click down here if you want to see Neil's Geek Edition video on running a 29-inch wheel up front and 27.5 out back. Really good video actually, and might not be what you expect to see. And of course, if you like this video, make sure you give us a thumbs up.